Hey, well, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to review another pro wrestling documentary, The Price of Fame. The story of the $1 million man, Ted Dibiase. I was surprised when I saw the thing. It was made in conjunction with Fathom Events, because I see that in the title. So I guess it may have played in theater. I mean, this was made in 2017. It was on my recommended list on Amazon. And it's included with Prime, and it's really a good movie. It talks about his son, Ted DiBiase Jr., and also, I tried to go from the beginning, because it says one thing I didn't know about the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, is he was a second generation wrestler, and it talks about his dad. Well, the scene where he goes back, him and his son go back to a place in Arkansas. I can't remember. I mean, not Arkansas, Arizona. I can't remember the name of the place. It talked about his dad, and his dad was Mike DiBiase. I didn't know about it. There's lots of wrestlers in the movie talking about him or commenting on Ted Sr. And the sad thing at the end of the thing saying loving memory, and they show all these, like a big stack, like all these wrestlers that are in the movie passed away. George Animal Steel's in it, Roddy Piper's in it. Did Jim Ross pass? I can't remember. Jim Ross is in it, but I didn't remember if he passed away or not. And, it's pretty sad. I mean, wrestling has a dark history behind it. And it talks about him and his son going back to where, and it said his dad, Ted's dad, Mike DiBiase, actually passed away in the ring. He had a heart attack. And I guess what happened was Terry Funk was supposed to wrestle in his place, and he said, I'm not going to be able to make this match, and stuff like that. He might have to replace me. And they called Mike DiBiase to replace him. He said it could have been a lot different of that. Mike DiBiase had a heart attack in the ring and passed away. And Ted DiBiase lost his dad at age 15, and it talks about him. His dad was like a good guy. He set him on a straight and narrow. Then he kind of succumbed to temptations of the road with drinking and women and stuff like that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Talking about Ted, finishing high school, and then he got a thing for college. He wanted to be like his dad. He wanted to be a wrestler, and his dad told him he didn't want him to do that. But when he started college, he was on his third year. After his third year, I think he signed up. And they talk about the territories. So he was working the territories for his big break at WWF, or WWE now. And it talks about, and his son's there. I mean, the movie is it's not like a simple structured movie where it starts from how it began up to present day. It goes in different directions, or it's like a chapter in a book. Like, it talks about one subject, and then they address it, or they might interview about it. Just like with the infidelity, they have seen where his son talks about his wife, and then his son confronts his dad about it. On his second marriage. And I guess the $1 million man was, it starts off with one of the meanest clips with him, and it has Virgil right next to him. And the weird thing is, they only had one little interview thing with Virgil for like a second. I'm surprised he didn't talk to him more, or they have more of his stuff, because he was with Ted DiBiase all the time. He was like his bodyguard and stuff. And he said, like, Ted DiBiase, one thing Ted DiBiase said, for the character, don't smile. And that was pretty much all Virgil said. I'm surprised he didn't say more. He's only in the one scene in there. And one thing about $1 million man I didn't know about, this was Vince McMahon's personal idea. When he was doing a thing of villains, like have someone that has so much money that everyone wants to be him or meet him and stuff like that, and he said he could get away with anything. And then they said Vince had the idea for a long time, so he had to pick the right guy, and then Ted DiBiase was the right guy. And they said that they made sure he had everything. He had plenty of money all the time, spending like big bills. He always traveled in limousine, always like first class or like private jets and stuff like that. And because of that, and then kept him in a high what do you call it? Big and suites and stuff like that. Hotels, nice rooms and stuff. I guess he going to great parties and stuff. I guess a lot of women were hanging around. I guess he cheated on his wife, and then his wife found out about it and said, "You have no longer have a home to come to." And then he was trying to save his family. He ended up reaching out and finding a religion. I think he became a reverend. Now I want to divert from the story for a second. Now there's nothing wrong. I mean, talking about religion is always tricky on a channel where everybody of different beliefs and stuff watch. I mean, but I'm not preaching one way or the other about religion, but he found God, and it helped him out too, saved his marriage. There was a channel. There was a cable channel that was around for maybe 5, 6 years, and then it went away, called Intro TV. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it before. I mean, if you have heard of Intro TV, I mean, let me know. I remember there were some people. I remember. Well, I worked at Betty's Kitchen. They were asked. They didn't know what Intro TV was. I told them. They just stared at me like they didn't understand or they didn't get it or something like that. So, if you don't, I mean, or they didn't care. Then why'd you ask? People are so rude sometimes. And but Intro TV was a very unique idea. It had through the programming, it had a couple hours dedicated to smaller channels. There was some cooking channel. That's how I found about Emerald. Emerald had a show in there. It wasn't the cooking channel though. It was some other cooking channel. They had the Army channel. I think it was the Navy channel. They had some. Now this is the one I was telling. They had some religious channel that played music videos and stuff. Or other thing was this young guy hosting. It was kind of hip, and I used to watch it sometimes. And my dad watched it. And then my dad called me out. Hey guys, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. So what's going on? And Ted Dibiase, what's he doing on it? And he was talking about being a born again reverend and stuff like that. It was really interesting. I mean, I thought that's how I found out about that. And this was I don't know, 93, 94. But I mean, the one thing I was going to tell you about, the one mean clip I got on a Tad and I started talking about Virgil. They show one of his meanest clips where it's from 87, because I didn't know what Ted DiBiase was some guy came down a little bit later. I couldn't remember. And he was a big hit. He was a great villain, too. And, a great heel. That's what that's the term. Babyface is a good guy and heel's a bad guy. And, I bet you most people probably remember this. Oh, have you heard of Intro TV? Let me know too. There was a clip where they obviously got people out of the audience to do different things. He'd pay people to do things, and he'd cheat them and say if you want to earn this much money, you got to do this. And there was a little kid. Obviously, they pulled him out of that and they told him what was going on. But he looked oblivious. I mean, he just kind of looked kind of nervous. But I mean, and they said, him was there, and Ted Dibiase, hey, little guy, and stuff like that. My friend Virgil is going to give you $500 if you can dribble this basketball 15 times in a row. And the kid looked real nervous, and then he started. I mean, he was little, maybe 5'6" or something like that. And he started dribbling. They were counting. The audience counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we got to 30, and when it got to 14, Ted Dibiase kicked the basketball out, so he didn't get 15. And he said, "Well, that's Well, he was he's $500. It looks like you need $500. You're in your family. It looks like you need more than $500. He's being real rude and stuff, but that's the way he was." And he said, "Sorry, kid, but it's a tough lesson to learn in life. You don't get the money if you don't do the job, or whatever, right, or something like that." I mean, that was really cemented the thing as a bad guy. But I mean, it's a great movie. It talks about his son, Ted Dibiase Jr. I mean, I liked him too when he was in wrestling. He kind of got forgotten about. He's a third generation wrestler. He was in that Marine too, which I thought he did a very good job playing in that movie. And then I didn't see any of the Marines after that. That was the one with the Miz, and I didn't see any other ones after that. But I thought he did a good job in that. I saw the first one, John Cena, which I liked. That played in the theater. That was a lot of fun too. But no, I liked Ted DiBiase Jr. too. And then all of a sudden, WWE kind of like set on the side, and then he was just out partying with fans and tailgate parties, then which would be awesome. And definitely meeting the fans and stuff like that, but they gave him less ring time. I don't think he's with WWE anymore. But I mean, I think it's a fascinating movie. I was a big Ted Dibiase fan, you know, and it goes. It. Damn it. You ain't got my pop. Excuse me. But it goes in all these different directions and stuff like that. It's a very entertaining thing. A movie. I think you'll like it. And it's a great companion piece to Jake the Snake Roberts movie about him overcoming addictions. It should be like a double feature because it tackles some serious issues too, you know. And it's a very good movie. So I think you'll like this. I give it a 10 out of 10. Well, 9.5 out of 10 for The Price of Fame. I think it's a wonderful movie. I think you'll like it too. So until next time, everybody, please take care of my legion. I wish Dad was here to see. He would like it. I tell my sister about it because she said, my sister the last person I thought would watch like wrestling documentaries. She said she'd watched that. Well, I mean, this was a long time ago when it was on Netflix. She said she watched Jake Snake movies multiple times. She really liked it. Take care, everybody.